I think the conversation around the North Korean people is one that's been so absent, especially in the media. North Korea is one of these very unique issues where for some reason we have such a difficult time distinguishing the regime from the people. There are 25 million North Korean people in that country, and yet it's so easy for us, to sometimes forget that and to kind of lump North Korea all together as just this sort of monolith. And so for us, we really do try to really encourage both the media and really the public to look beyond the politics and to the North Korean people, just the everyday lives of the North Korean people. A lot of the conversation that's been had here, that's not the everyday experience that your average North Korean person has. How has the exorbitant spend on security and nuclear weapons and all of this impacted the everyday North Korean people? In the mid to late 90s, you had one of the worst famines of the 20th century, and that was because of a number of circumstances that kind of came together, including the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe and kind of the stopping of all this aid and trade from their communist allies, including a lot of natural disasters. But more than that, the government prioritized, the regime, the elite, above all else. They have made very flippant comments before that the people are of no concern. The government really doesn't have a concern very much for the everyday North Korean person. And so their priority is to feed the elite, it's to keep the elite, those in Pyongyang, really your top sort of 1%, you could say, or top 10% of North Korea, appeased in a way, loyal, and everyone else that really is of no real concern or priority to this government. So you see in the mid to late 90s, as a result of this famine, about anywhere from a few 100,000 up to even estimates of 3 million North Koreans who have potentially passed away and perished as a result of that famine. And we have helped North Korean refugees escape who talk about losing their parents and watching them starve to death in front of them. I can't imagine what it's like as a 12-year-old boy to watch my father starve to death and for him to explain to me weeks before he starves to death how I will know when he's passed, showing me where to put my finger under his back, because by that time he's gone, I should feel the full weight of his body on me. And then to have his mother go to China with his sister to try to do some sort of business to make money just so that she can bring food back for him as a 12-year-old boy to help him to survive. Unsuccessful in doing that, having to sell her own daughter in China so that she could come back and then help her son. And this young man, Joseph Kim, he came out, made his way out to China when he was 15 years old, and eventually made it all the way here to the United States, and now lives and is going to college and is studying actually this very issue, because he himself is an incredibly bright and intelligent individual who wants to be someone that can help to change his own country one day. And I think we forget that the North Koreans that we can access, unfortunately, most people don't have the access that most of you here have had, being able to go into North Korea. But for the rest of us, there are about 31,000 North Koreans that have made it safely to South Korea and are resettled and living there today. And it's difficult. It's like the best description a North Korean defector shared was, going to South Korea was like getting in a time machine and fast forwarding 60 years, having to catch up on globalization and technology and all of these things. South Korea being so fast-paced, technologically advanced, it was so challenging for them. But on top of that, the fact that they expect to come to a place like South Korea and to be welcomed by people they assume are their brothers and sisters, only to realize that this division has been for so long that this more recent generation, young generation in South Korea, now view North Korea as a completely separate country. There's a lot of apathy, a lack of interest, and frankly, a lot of discrimination against North Korean refugees once they get to South Korea.